Join us for the RV1 Jacksonville grand opening and get everyday low prices on the top RV brands. RV1 offers the best RV selection in Florida with 8 stores to choose from and the top brands in Jacksonville, including Jayco, Forest River, Thor, Braxton Creek, Airstream, and more. From towable trailers to motorized RVs, we have it all. Visit us to see how you could win a 2022 Class C Geneva motorhome. You won't want to miss out on these grand opening deals. Find us at RV1.com or off I-295 on Merrill Road.
Welcome to Women Winning Divorce with your host, Heather Quick. Heather brings over 20 years of law experience that advocates and empowers women to achieve happier and healthier lives. Each week, we provide knowledge and guidance on different aspects of family law to help lead women through the difficult and emotional legal challenges that they are facing. Listen in as she discusses issues including divorce, custody, alimony, paternity, narcissism, mediation, and other family law issues to provide insight on the journey of women winning divorce. Welcome to the show. I'm Julie Morgan, and I'm joined by your host, Heather Quick. Heather, it is great to see you again.
It is great to see you, Julie.
You know, I asked you about this topic a while ago, mediation, because I was wondering, you kept bringing it up, and like all these topics, they go together. And I was like, well, this has to be mandatory because she keeps bringing it up, right? And it is. And so that's the topic today. So let's talk about mediation. First of all, what is it?
So mediation is the process that, and it goes across all areas of law. And essentially, it breaks down, it's compromise, but it's facilitated because if, the two people who are essentially at adverse sides could do that on their own, they would, as we would imagine. So there are mediators. They are certified by the state of Florida. They've gone through training. They are a neutral party. Currently, to become a mediator, you have to have been a lawyer practicing for a certain amount of time. And then, of course, there are areas specific. So there are family law mediators. There are civil case mediators and personal injury and medical. So all the areas of law, there are mediators that really study. Sometimes they used to practice in that area. So they have that knowledge base, not only of the law, but the experience of the courts in those particular cases and how things go. So that mediator is your neutral party who really goes basically back and forth from one to the other, but they're not a message carrier, not an effective mediator. An effective mediator really works to get to know each side. And I think there's such a psychology to it. Having done this for so many years and watching great mediators, the ones who are really good, they understand the psychology of people and, the getting to yes, all these books on negotiation, because they're the ones playing the devil's advocate a little bit on one side and on the other, and understanding the law, even though they can't advise you. They're not your lawyer. Some people say, we just want to go to mediation. Okay, it's not like that's any great concession. Like I said, we have to. And we'll get into it further as we go through as to, how it works when you have a lawyer versus not. But it is a wonderful process that can really allow people to have closure and play a part in the final decision making of their divorce.
I see the table at mediation getting ugly.
Well, you've probably looked in at some of mine as earlier date. However, I have tried to become less adversarial, and that happens. Okay, so that's you're envisioning. Okay, and what you're envisioning is a big table and the attorney, the client on one side, the attorney, the client on the other side, and the mediator.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that used to happen years ago, and it really started us all off on the bad foot, I thought. And I still agree. So now we start in separate rooms and we stay in separate rooms.
Okay. That's not what I was thinking.
And it definitely allows the procedure. And this is because what goes on in that, breakout room or caucus where it's the mediator and you and your attorney, sometimes we are having a confidential discussion. And, the mediator has the ability to say, if you tell me not to repeat this, I won't. Otherwise, I will take what we've discussed and go over there. And so that's part of the process. And we'll say, okay, I want you to tell them this, but don't tell them this. But I want you to know we're willing to move a certain amount, but don't let them know that yet. As the psychology of negotiation. So it's very much, and it's not playing games. It's just the psychology of knowing, particularly, let's say if your husband is a narcissist in this typical fashion, there's a way to effectively negotiate so that we win, but they think they're winning.
So I know I've gotten totally ahead of myself because we're going to talk about what to expect in mediation, but oh boy, I can't wait for you to finish all of that thought. Okay, so this is interesting. All righty. So can you go to mediation without an attorney?
You can. And often, and I think there are probably some cases where that might be, a good thing to do. Essentially, if you don't have any assets or children, then you don't have as much to lose, but you can. Two parties, can do that. And the downfall with that is that the mediator, ethically, he cannot or she cannot advise you as to whether this is a good deal, a bad deal. Well, if you infringe, they just can't because they are neutral. And therefore, you're sitting there negotiating. And how do you know if it is a good deal or not? If you don't understand the law and you don't understand your situation, you may or may not really be making a great decision. So that's where I caution women. A lot of men will tell their wives, we're just going to go to a mediator. And the wife's afraid to upset the husband. She doesn't want to push him for financials. So she listens. And then, I've met with many of these women after the fact, and they've signed a document, and I have nothing nice to say about that. And they made a poor decision, and you can't fix it. Mediation is wonderful and great, but if you don't know what you're doing or what you're entitled to, don't think that this is going to magically give you that advice. And when going through a divorce, if your decisions are based on not upsetting your husband and making him happy, then clearly you're putting his interests above yours. And so after the divorce and in the future, don't be surprised if he's the one who did much better financially than you did.
So really, you don't need a mediator and an attorney. However, you really do.
You really do.
Yeah.
What you really need is an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And then we will go to mediation. And for example, like we have mediators in this area, Northeast Florida, all throughout Florida. Some mediators now with Zoom, all through Florida, they can handle all kind of cases. And some, just like lawyers, some mediators are better than others. Some mediators, based on what we know about our client, we know a mediator might be a better personality fit, and or what our clients told us about their husband or that attorney. There are some mediators that we think, I think they would be better for this case because we have to go. That's an expensive day for our client. They're paying us the attorney and they have to share the cost of the mediator. So I want it to be productive. That's our goal, my goal. It's like we're going to be ready and we're hopeful that we can settle. But so all of those things are important, like who the mediator is and, how that's going to help us resolve the case. I find those to be very important decisions.
Okay, so you named one reason why an attorney really is necessary. It's because you know the mediators, and so you can see which one may be better,
It's true.